Hello, hello, good evening to you all. It's 9 p.m. and we are delighted, excited, super pumped to have you for the second edition of Confidence Cafe. Tonight we've prepared a really special edition, not only because we need much more caffeine, much more energy, much more confidence and entertainment, especially during this time. We want to, again, welcome you to the only and the very special virtual Confidence Cafe, the only one of its kind. I have a very special guest tonight, and so I want to ask you to please go back into your seats or armchair, wherever you are at home. I know that not many of you are going to have coffee because it's a bit late, but a tea, some nice drink to just unwind, and allow me and my amazing guest to take you on a journey where we are going to speak about how you can navigate through life with grace, with confidence, how you can navigate through dating if you are dating, how you can have a better relationship with your husband or wife, especially that you're now at home, if you know what I mean. We want to speak with you about the world of manners and how you can get ready, prepared to go back post the pandemic to the normal life, much more recharged, with much more knowledge. Plus, even though we're going to give you all these business tips, be sure you are going to be part of a super sincere and girly chat with international etiquette master and relationship consultant, Andreea Stefanescu!
Oh God, you get me so pumped. I was so excited when I was looking down, like, oh my God, who is this amazing Andreea Stefanescu? Thank you.
Welcome to Confidence Cafe. Not only you have so many accolades, you are schooled in the best schools in the world, but also, luckily for me, I can also call you my close friend. So, welcome to Confidence Cafe. The coffee is ready, water is ready. Hello to all of you tuning in. I know that there are people watching from US, from Romania, from our home country, and from here, from Dubai. Da, allow me to say to our Romanian audience, bună seara și bine ați venit.
Yes, I'm getting the fancy cups. I don't know if you can see, so please observe. I feel so special right now.
Well, I know that coffee and, of course, the 5 o'clock tea is very famous in the world of etiquette. And let's go straight ahead and speak about why manners. How did you enter and what invited you, what pulled you in the world of etiquette and manners?
Oh, this is a question of so many answers, but I'm going to start with my personal why, isn't it? Because we teach best what we most needed in our life to learn. And I was born as a very famous pastor's daughter in Romania. And I guess as a pastor's daughter, what very few people know is that you sort of have to fit a pattern pre-existent. So my father was a very powerful figure in the community. He still is. He's written over 40 books. Everybody was looking up to him. You have this level of expectation when you're born under such a powerful figure. And I think in a way people dehumanize this power of success. And I've gotten to learn this over time because as I joined aviation, I've joined private aviation, I've done sponsorship events for Emirates Airlines, and later on I worked for the royal family and heads of state and some of the most powerful businessmen here in the region. I've actually gotten to experience this also from outside, to see their children and the challenges that they're going through, and to see how ultimately we see success as an end goal, but we assimilate it somehow to something that is unattainable. You know, you reach there and only certain people reach there. So that's why a lot of us, even on our path to success, we face this imposter syndrome. And the imposter syndrome comes from something that we have deeply engraved in us since childhood. Because what happens when you're a child? The first people that you look up to are
Mom and Dad.
Mom and Dad.
The gods.
The gods. And mom and dad can never really go through, it's almost traumatizing for a child to see the human in their mom and dad, to see them suffer, to see them cry, to see them emotional, in an emotional stress and in a turmoil. So whenever a parent shows anger and is irrational, we do not really sit and think, oh, mom and dad were wrong to act this way towards me. We don't have that.
Them.
No, we judge ourselves and we become parents for ourselves later and we say, oh, it's not my actions that were bad. No, I am a bad person for acting this way. And that is a problem that we carry with ourselves throughout life. Now, the problem with this and with dehumanizing success in a way, and we dehumanize whatever we perceive as confidence in and confident people, is that we fail to see the journey behind it. We fail to see that people,
especially with celebrities,
exactly,
right? Or politicians,
exactly,
or any famous writer.
Yes. So there is a saying in Romanian: "Do what the priest does, do what the priest says, not what the priest does," and it is true in a way. And that was something that followed me throughout my life. And it was something that deeply pained me because people couldn't see me. They just saw the image that they created of me around the success that my father had, around the image that they've created around success and confidence.
And before we continue to go more into manners, so how did you manage to break from that shell?
Well, ultimately, I think we sort of imitate what success is. I was very, very... You could say that as I was growing up, I became sort of a professional people pleaser because you consider, and in a lot of the countries, the mistake is that politeness has to be people pleasing. You cannot be polite and not be nice to people. You cannot be polite and not lie about certain things. You cannot be polite and say no to somebody, God forbid. So in a way, people think that being polite is being a pushover, that being, if you know etiquette and manners, then you're boring and you're a liar, you must be a diplomat. Politics is assimilated with etiquette.
Yes.
And that's not true. And because it hurt me so much, and I wanted to show the world that this is not how things should be, that etiquette is not supposed to be something that confines you, but on the contrary, it opens so many doors. It opens your mind to a world of cultures and possibilities.
But when did you discover that you wanted to break free from being in the shadow of your dad's success? You said 40 books. I didn't even know that about you. I know so much about you, but I didn't know that your father wrote 40 books. So I'm sure there are doctors out there are academia, other successful people, and I'm sure there are many children who are going to maybe feel the same. But where did you find the connection between breaking from that pattern, stereotype, of being in, people not seeing your essence, and manners? Where did you see the bridge between the two?
Weird enough, so I think when I walked away, and it was at 14, I remember there was a moment when I was questioning if it's my father's name or my own value that made me succeed in school, and I became Olympic in mathematics. Don't get me wrong, I'm far from being an Olympic now, so don't give me an exam. But
geek on the set. We have a geek on the set. If you still want to watch, it's on you.
Exactly. I was actually raised because I was so confined. My father used to take me to school, pick me up from school. I didn't have any kind of much friendships or interaction outside of school, and I was so confined in my world that I never really made peace or even got the chance to discover my femininity. I was so shy, I was so introverted. I just thought that I have to be, like a porcelain door almost, that somebody else modeled.
True.
And you just had to fit that pattern. I didn't know who I was until so late in life. And I actually, at 14, I realized that I have to go very far away so I can discover myself. And the first article that was written about me was after a trip in Bali. And that was the first time when I got to know who I am. And it was the title that my friend chose was The Story of a Nomad Soul. And I realized that this is what got me searching for manners. It was that on the contrary of what popular belief is, manners gave me that freedom to interact with whoever, whenever, in whichever country,
because
with
ultimately you were looking for an exit out, and it's so
a passport.
And ultimately the exit was manners, and that's why today, you're traveling to so many countries. I remember Thailand, Romania,
89.
UK. Yes, 89, but you were teaching etiquette.
And I was teaching.
You were teaching manners in so many countries, and it all just boomed. It happened all of a sudden.
Yes.
What is now confidence to you? Because everyone who comes to Confidence Cafe is invited to give us their definition of what is a confident woman or a confident person. How would you describe a confident person?
Yes, going back to the idea that we live in this idea and we dehumanize success, you have to understand that a person that is a great actor is not necessarily great in everything, in every single aspect of their life. So stop putting success and people that have or you admire so on a pedestal, on a godlike pedestal that, and whenever they fall from there or they do something.
You see?
I was watching recently the documentary with Michael Jordan, and it impressed me because he said at one point, people lift you up on this godlike pedestal just to tear you apart. And they tear you apart because they don't see that confidence is very focused on a certain aspect of your life. You cannot be all. No, we are all human. We cannot be perfect 24/7 and amazing at everything. It's not human, and it wouldn't be healthy. So that is what I think limits us. And well, if I would have to give a proper definition, I guess a while back, I think Webster Dictionary defined this. I'm talking from the dictionary like a geek now. I think defined it as the faith that in whichever situation you are in, you would know exactly what is the proper way to act. And that sounds like etiquette to me.
Okay, yes, I know. I know very well, and we've talked about this, that in teaching etiquette and teaching people how to have the right behavior in the right context and be able to build rapport, create a conversation, and create that first good impression that allows you to really build a relationship. It's very similar with the work that I do when I go into a boardroom and I teach a CEO how to give a speech or how to memorize a speech, because he makes a first impression on stage. And then they have to build their confidence muscle when they have to give a speech. And it so happens that so many executives today don't have time. We are living in a time where we don't have time. We are trying to do so much in one day. And because we are doing so much, we don't have time to focus on, preparing to give a speech or so on and forth. And then in your case, of course, you build people's confidence because let's say a friend of yours says, hey, I got you a dinner with so-and-so. You can pitch your company tomorrow night, 8:30, be there, Hotel X. And you're like, oh, okay, I know my pitch, I know my product, but I forgot, what do you do with all this cutlery? Where do you put the glass? And you're sitting there next to the investor, and the inner you screams inside, okay, who pays, how, you're so preoccupied with how you eat that you forget your pitch. So then that's where you come in. How is it possible that we get these high degrees? We have so much knowledge, we write all these essays, but schools don't put so much accent on social skills. Opening doors, saying, thank you, please, may I? I mean, I know that we are talking, small details, but I want to start by asking, because I'm genuinely curious, why is that schools don't put so much accent on manners, and then you have finishing schools and you have different type of other entities?
That is a very good question. So I think ultimately it's because we have this idea that manners are by nature. We are born knowing how to shake hands. We are born knowing how to say thank you. And they're not. They're nurtured into society. That's why there is this very sad quote saying that by Frank Sinatra, who said that, no, by Fred Astaire, sorry, that said the most difficult challenge that children face today is learning manners without ever witnessing any. And that that is the reality. And I don't really blame the schooling system. It's just it needs an upgrade. It needs to adapt because etiquette has adapted with the times. The schooling system hasn't adapted. Until, well, our generation, we didn't really have a problem because our mothers were still there to teach us what manners are. We were the first generation to sort of go through this switch where after the feminist movement happened, women started getting more education, started going to work. So we're the first children that were raised with the key around their neck and just managing. Now we're actually starting to witness the decline in social skills in society.
Can you give us some example, although I have plenty?
I think we all do, And the one moment when I decided that I'm gonna start the School of Manners, which by the way initially was called Her Manners.
Yes, I remember.
Was when I was in London and I was entering a mall. And this mother with her daughter were coming into the mall, and I held the door open for them. And the daughter looked at me for a second, and the mother just rushed past me. And she looked at me, she looked at her mom, and she just walked past. And for me, maybe it seems like nothing, but it was such a flash of a moment in history of how this is it. This is the next generation learning that we don't need to acknowledge other people. We don't need to say thank you. And that was very sad. So that was the moment when I said her manners, because ultimately it is the woman at the base of society, teaching civility, teaching social skills. It's in our DNA. We are much more empathic. There's much more... and I always say this for all the fighters out there for equality. Men and women can be equal in everything, but men and women will never be the same. We're not genetically programmed to be the same.
And I second you on that. And if you stay here live, we are slowly approaching the hot topic of dating and who pays and how to manage how to manage your love life and how manners are crucial. So don't go anywhere. So would you blame, you mentioned the decline of manners, but before we go more into that, for people watching now at home, how can they test themselves quickly if they are mannered or not? Could you give 4 or 5 criteria? So being always kind and considerate.
Let's clear something.
Let's clear more things.
Let's clear something before I even start. I did not start the School of Manners ever from a place of thinking society today lacks manners.
Right,
no.
Yeah.
I started the School of Manners because I strongly believe that society today is getting increasingly more selfish.
Increasingly more selfish.
And that is something that you've actually touched up without realizing just earlier.
Yes,
Even when you teach people public speaking.
Yes.
It's not the fact that, yes, it is the fear of facing this, but it's, if truth be told, anybody would sit with themselves and think, well, if I was in public, what would I like to see? What do I enjoy observing in another human being? Do I like someone hiding from, with the Tribune behind and shaking their paper? And do I like someone reading or looking at me? Do I like someone who enters the stage without their arms crossed and, I think that maybe they need to rush to the restroom or they think that I'm going to shoot them down? So, but the thing is, we don't have that time to consider how people feel about us. And that is, I think, the number one problem, is that there is no judgment. Yes, the life today is incredibly more rushed. It's going at the speed per hour that, our parents back in the day didn't even imagine could exist.
So maybe we are pulled in 2 directions.
We are.
I have to learn about technology, AI,
Yes.
and adapt, oh, I have to be kind and polite and wait and be on time. And so we are constantly in this push and pull.
We are. And that is why there was this big pressure in society for so long about work-life efficiency, work-life balance. Work-life balance, and everybody started putting so much pressure on themselves on work-life balance. And there was the 5 a.m. club, the 4 a.m. club, the 3 a.m., the no sleep club. You can't just don't sleep. Sit 1 hour in bed like a vampire in Romania and with your eyes open, and then wake up and try to rush to do everything in a day. For 1 hour and a half, I respond to emails. I've actually read this somewhere and I thought, my God, this is a robot. Probably he's marrying one of those robot dolls he has on the side. But yes, so for half an hour I have breakfast. For 1 hour and a half I respond to emails. Then for 2 hours I read my newspapers. Then for another 15 minutes, 0.5, I go and I take a shower. I'm like, who can do that? I don't believe this can be achieved. But work-life efficiency can definitely be achieved, which means that you want to stay 12 hours at work, and this is what you have to make sure that everything is proper. Fine, stay 12 hours at work. But those 2 hours that you go home, that one day of weekend that you spend with your family, put your phone away, make sure that you pay attention to the people around you, that you respect. Be present, that is the word. And that is what we fail to understand. We rush so much in being work-life balanced that we fail to be work-life efficient. And if you run after too many things, you don't really accomplish. It's a false impression of action that you make. It's a false idea that you're actually going somewhere.
So under manners, we have being conscientious of others, having emotional empathy, and not be selfish. To prepare if you have an audition, to prepare if you have an event, to think of what experience I will give others. Yes. It goes to be present and to work how much you want to work and how you can work. But when you are having dinner or an interview or a meeting, be present. What else goes? So how can people at home know if they covered, how much they cover from manners? So I want us to help them a little bit to kind of run a quick test for themselves.
So let's start with work, yes, because let's
work,
take that out of the hustle
work.
Generation. Now, when you are at work, you send an email. By paying attention to the grammar that you put in that email, maybe it takes an extra 30 seconds. Change the subject. Don't CC, BCC everybody if it's not important to everybody. Make sure that you make a point and ask yourself, why am I sending this? So everything you do it with a purpose. It takes literally, and it gets into the habit, you train your mind to think kindly. And so kindness is a mindset, and it's something that you have to practice every day. So, okay, you send that email efficiently if you've done all these steps. Then you have a meeting with a potential client. Now, do a bit of research about this client. Just go quickly on LinkedIn and see where did he study, where is he from. Maybe you'll find some commonality. It would make you look like a stalker. It would make you look like someone that shows interest, that showed up to the particular interview or meeting with the purpose. It's stating to that person, I am interested in you. I'm not just here with you as a number in my day, an appointment that I have fitted in between other 3 appointments, but I'm actually here with a purpose. I'm actually here because I'm interested in you. And I cannot begin to tell you how much people's faces light up just by using a hello in their language or a thank you in their language or saying, oh, by the way, are you from this country? I've actually studied there recently. So we're from Romania. Imagine if now somebody walks in and just tells us, girls, you're from Romania. I've actually studied there for 1 year. And just that simple detail makes us feel like we connect with the person already.
And it's all about human
And
connection.
that makes your meeting efficient. Mm-hmm. Instead of jumping through hoops to take 10 meetings in a day, you're showing up late to all of them. You have no clue who the person is. You forgot their name. You show up there and you sit with your phone, so you reply to a few more messages, meanwhile a few more emails, because come on, there's a lot of leads, and you end up the meeting. It's like you're treating the person like a one-night stand. So, oh, by the way, okay, this is what I'm having here to sell. I don't care about what you need or who you are.
Right.
This is what I have to make some money. And by the way, do you know anybody else who I could do this with? Do you feel good? Do you want to work with me? So I can just skip to the next client that I have to do this with.
But is it lack of manner or is the pressure? Or is both?
It's both.
It's both.
It's the fact that we lack manners, which makes us less efficient in our life. It's the same as I would put you, and that's why I say etiquette and manners are like a GPS in life.
Yeah.
I would have reached your place probably by tomorrow or day after, inshallah, if I wouldn't have had my GPS. But people think that, technical skills and their diplomas and, it's everything. It's fine. I have my ears, I have my passport, I have my language, I have my beauty, and I have it all. And I just explained this yesterday. Look, etiquette and manners are like the air in your tires. You could have the fanciest Ferrari with the top upgrade in the world, the top audio system and the best things. It smells great, it looks great, you've upgraded everything. But then if it has a flat tire, you're stuck in the road. And it's the same. Etiquette and manners are like the air in your tires. You don't know they're there, but it's good that they're there, because if it's missing, that's the moment when you start feeling that you can't move any further in life. And it is the reality. We rarely witness when somebody is kind and everything is smooth. We take manners for granted. We think, oh, okay, they're just there, everybody knows them. But whenever somebody is rude to us, it actually scientifically proven is lowering our productivity, is decreasing our, it's actually even clients that witness rudeness in your company tend to leave to another company. It literally creates such discomfort. It actually lowers our life, if not just efficiency and quality of life, but it lowers our life overall, our life expectancy. Because if you live in a toxic environment, whether it is at work or in your relationship, you don't want to live too long.
I know that, the analogy with the tires is very powerful. I trust everyone listening is going to take that in and just have another perspective that manners and etiquette and kindness are like the air in your tires. You might be driving your fancy... And speaking of branded cars and sport cars and cars, it makes me think of competition. And when I think of competition, I think of competitive advantage. And when I think of competitive advantage and I think of the millions of people who are now unemployed, I can easily realize that in the next few weeks and months, recruiters are going to be very busy and people are going to go to many other interviews. There's a big reshuffle in the world. And so there will be so many people fighting for one position. And I know I've heard you saying in your amazing interviews that if you have a number of people, maybe 4 or 5, with the same resume, same set of skills, same number of, same talent, what will make the recruiter take one person and not the other is manners, is kindness. So just tell us more about that, because I want people who are watching, who chose to watch this live with Andreea Stefanescu, to be empowered and leave this session thinking, oh, here is how I can take the next interview.
I'm so glad you paid attention. I'm so glad you brought this topic up. So actually what I said, it didn't even come from me. It comes from recruiters themselves who told me this, the fact that nowadays, and this is the reality, as millennials, we are 3 times the size of all other generations combined. 3 times the size.
Whoa.
The first educational institutions, and I want you to pay big attention.
Everybody pay attention!
Yes, the first
drink more coffee and pay attention!
Institutions that picked up on this immense competitiveness in the market, and the fact that the slice, the pie, the slice in the pie, and the global pie is getting smaller and smaller for everybody, and that nowadays, even if you have the best diploma, best experience, and you would compete with at least 100 people that have the same experience, same degree, and same level of intelligence as you have. So the only and the first educational institutions that decided to implement etiquette training inside their programs have been Harvard and MIT. Harvard and MIT. I'm gonna say this again. Which are one of the top tier universities in the world.
Yeah.
Because they realize that if they want to maintain their graduates at the top level of the job industry, then they have to make sure that they have the upper hand in competing with other candidates.
And they are as polished as possible.
And they are as polished as possible. So when I spoke to recruiters, they said that it is a big challenge. So there is so many people coming to interviews that ultimately, realistically speaking, the only way to choose between a candidate and another at the final stage is to choose the person that you like best. People hire people that they like. People make business with people that they like, with the one that made that best impression that day. So by you not paying attention to your manners, to etiquette, to how you make the person in front of you feel, you are ultimately, just preparing yourself for failure. Fail to prepare or prepare to fail. And that is the huge and massive retard, if I can call it that we create for next generations by not implementing this type of education in the schooling system.
I know you've been teaching plenty of workshops for children, for the little ones, and then also for parents.
Together.
Wow.
Yes,
what an experience.
I've actually created and I've insisted on this, especially until the age of 12. Children do not follow what we say. Children follow our example, what we do. And yes, I could just be the type of trainer that says, yeah, just take your children, okay, I'll take your money, I'll go home and, wish you a great life forward. But the reality is that if you're not there in the classroom with your child, if you don't yourself live by this, by example and lead by example in your child's life, then your child will only listen to this like a song, remember it for a day or two, but revert to what they see.
The autopilot, the training that they see at home.
It is. And that's why I don't believe in just children classes. And that is the mistake that I think a lot of parents do. And they always come and they ask me, I know I'm so annoyed. I took my child to the restaurant and, he didn't sit down and he embarrassed me in front of my boss. And they get very annoyed. But what did you do on the last, Christmas show that your child had? What did you do?
Yeah.
You stayed on your phone the whole time.
Right.
You waited for your child to finish his poem. And as soon as he finished his poem, you went backstage, you got him dressed, stood up and said you're busy and left. What makes you think that your child should think that he has to respect further than what his interest is? He kept his interest for this amount of time. Now he is stopped having interest and now he wants to leave because that was the example that you set. Respect requires, respect for your child as well. If you cannot teach respect without showing respect. You cannot.
I also want to confess here in front of everyone watching the show now that when I get to meet you, and it's just a sweet compliment, when I get to meet you, I'm sitting a bit taller. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, then I better sit taller.
I'm meeting Andreea today.
Now after all this pandemic, I'm kind of slouching here like a bag of potatoes a little.
No, but I love the idea that you get to walk as a powerful role model in the life of your friends and in the life of other people. And so when you really embody, I love this word, when you embody these skills and you become kinder, you become generous in thinking for another person, you also become a bit royal, right? I mean, I was just telling you earlier, because I'm an undercover geek too. Shh! Don't tell anyone! So I was Googling away!
No, you say it with pride. I'm an undercover geek.
I was Googling away, and I've learned from Father Google that the word manner came from the French royal court.
Etiquette.
Yes. Etiquette, thank you. Came from the... You're such a good friend helping me, thank you. Came from the French royal courts where the aristocrats, where the gardeners who were working for Louis XIV, said, all these people, all these aristocrats are constantly working on the grass and I'm working every day. And they put an etiquette saying, don't step on the grass,
yes.
keep off the grass.
Yes.
And then because they put the etiquette and they put a rule, then we had the word etiquette. And so now it means that we have set of rules for different cultures, for different countries. And here we are in Dubai with 200 nationalities, with a big pot of etiquette. How do we navigate through business meetings when we have, a meeting with someone from India, with someone from the UK, with an American, with people who speak louder, lower? If you have if you have to go to attend a dinner and you have 3-4 different nationalities, how do you adapt? Teach us.
Well, we do a bit of homework, first of all, from home. So we make sure that we don't, create any discomfort. We don't make any, gross mistakes. Let's go there. And
but how do you adapt to so many energies, right?
You have to pay attention to people.
That's it?
So when you don't know, yes, that's it. It's that simple. So when I don't know something, I ask. But if I am completely rude, means I don't care to ask. So if I enter your house and you come from a different culture than me, that maybe I didn't have time to study, or maybe generally you might be different from your culture. If I've studied, I would still ask. So I'd be like, oh, I know that, I should maybe remove my shoes because I've heard that in Indian cultures, you should not maybe enter with your shoes in the house and walk all over the place. But I would still, out of respect for you, because I'm in your house, I would still ask, would you prefer me to remove my shoes before I start walking all over the house? There are mothers that like, so it goes further than culture. It goes into respecting the individual. Okay. If I go into a meeting with multiple cultures, then first of all, if you're the host, you have to make sure that you all sort of respect who's the guest of honor. So think in terms of how you sit people around the table. And there is a few guidelines in this. Being a host is actually a very, very difficult job that very few people are prepared for.
It's a difficult job?
Very difficult job. Very difficult job.
Okay, I'm convinced.
I will. When I was in Switzerland in the finishing school, just for people to understand, the business etiquette book was, of course, big, but about this much. Okay. The hostessing etiquette book, is camera see me? Was this much, and I have it at home. That similarly as big, was 3 times the size of the business etiquette book. Because there's so much into it. There's you have to make sure that everybody's comfortable. That the way you sit people around the table, they have how to communicate. You're
starting the conversation and you're actually managing the conversation.
And you manage the conversation.
And the energy. And the actual energy.
You don't let people get...
flat.
Yes.
Can I be a good hostess?
I think you would be an amazing hostess. You manage your millions of people. That is your job. But yes, and ultimately in organizations, I strongly advise that they do implement cultural trainings, cultural diversity trainings, which I am not sure why in Dubai is not mandatory. They should all have cultural diversity specialists inside their HR team.
We are going to send them the tape.
I do. I hope so. There's just I'll share. I don't know if we have time, but I'll share a little short story.
We have. You are the guest.
There was one.
So we have time.
Even among Western cultures, so I'll share this about the Western culture because a lot of the idea in Dubai is that if I have an American and a French in my organization, they're Western people. Western culture is fine. They should get along. They couldn't be further from the truth. So first of all, Americans hug, French kiss. French do not understand hugging at all. They think it's super intimate and over the top. Second of all, a French person, because, you know, ultimately French, usually, and I studied in France, you know, they believe that even God speaks French and everybody should speak French, and French is ultimately something to be, we should speak. You know? If you have nothing nice to say it in French.
Ma bien sûr, ma chérie. Comment ça va?
And then it will sound nice. So
oui, bienvenue à Confidence Café.
And they have this pride and they have this idea that, you know, and it's a cultural thing. Now, in America, you have to understand that culturally there was like a mash of cultures coming together and languages. So their communication was built on so many languages put together.
And they are more tolerant.
So, yes and no, debatable on what's happening right now in US. But what they are, however, in terms of communication, is that they are very specific. So after a meeting with an American, you tell me something, I have to repeat what you said. You have to confirm that what I said was exactly confirmed to what you said to me. And then we have to send over email, minutes, to confirm that what we both said was properly and eloquently noted and kept in written form. Now, usually the way a French meeting goes is that what is this waste of time? I said something, I say, voilà, bon, now we stand up and we continue with our life because I understood I'm not an idiot. We can just continue with this organization. So when an American asks the French to repeat what they said,
feel offended.
He will feel offended. It's like, do you think I'm an idiot? Why do I have to repeat what you said?
Every culture has certain assumptions.
Exactly, but there's no right and wrong, and that is what I am insisting on people to understand, and that is why etiquette opens your mind. You have to understand that you know, your way of doing things is not the only way of doing things, nor the right way of doing things. People come from such different backgrounds and perspectives, and it formed who they are. So understanding people makes your life so much easier, because there's nobody out there thinking you're an idiot. There's nobody out there trying to make your life difficult. French are not lazy, and Americans are not stupid. It's just the fact that there is a crash in the way they have a perception of a reality, and I can go forever talking about this. So you know, okay, you know, 4 plus 4 makes 8, but you know, 5 plus 3 makes 8 too. So yeah, I mean,
2 plus 6.
Yes. So there's so many possibilities and so many realities.
So we could agree that having good manners is being incredibly interested and invested and curious in understanding more about the person and the culture they come from.
Yes.
Take a step back, put your assumptions on a side and say, I don't know nothing. I'm going to investigate. I'm going to be curious. I'm going to make time to get to know the person.
Yes. How beautiful is that?
Wow.
What better compliment one could get?
Thank you. I've had meetings where I rushed and I didn't have time to research. And inside me, I felt a little bad. And I avoided it. I'm sure many people watching right now are guilty of being late. And I want to confess that I've cured myself only last year. And our common Romanian friend, who I'm going to send this tape, she will, I hope, smile, because she put me on the spot and she said, what does that say about you, Andreea Zoia, when you are late? Why are you late? You think you are the center of the universe or what? And the way she said it, I was not late from last year, not anymore, because she's asked me, are you that selfish to always think only of you? Huh? And of course, you know, us Romanians, we have a way to say certain things when we want. So I've cured that, and it's, you know, on the top of having etiquette, because it goes into being considerate.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody who is single right now, take your notes, your pens, and write down, because this woman here has been teaching plenty of workshops, and she has helped many people to understand the big mystery of who pays, who opens the door? What does it mean in 2020 when he doesn't open the door of the car? And what are your expectations from a man? So let's start from the beginning. Who pays the bill?
Oh, the eternal debate. Well, let's make it simple. The person that invites is the person that pays the bill.
Here we go.
Yes. So we don't have any more arguments, any more shouting, any more pulling the bill, any more, let me just turn to pretend like I want to pay for the bill, when in fact I do not, because that is the polite way to say. And I've heard this, this shaming and going back and forth. And again, being polite is not being hypocritical. It's not, you don't have to play pretend or lie to anybody. Yes, it's having to be considerate towards others. And I want to specify this just because you know the rule. You don't need to use it. It's not a license to put someone else down.
Yes, yes.
So
you always say that.
If you are a lady on a first date and, the School of Manners has told you that the person that invites is the person that should pay, and that is what your expectation, your standard is for, let's say, this particular gentleman that you wish would be in your life, and he doesn't, he decides to go Dutch and split. I have to tell you about this go Dutch. It's not such a compliment, so please stop using the expression.
We have time. Yes, we have.
But
Dutch people, hide away.
No, yeah, it's not. It wasn't a compliment. So it was used by the British people when it was the war, and they perceive that Dutch are very cheap. So that's go Dutch is whenever you have to split the bill, because it's Dutch. They perceive that Dutch are very cheap.
And that was at a moment in time.
That was a moment in time, and it was historical, but that's where the expression comes from. So by you saying, do you want to go Dutch, is you telling me that, I'm quite cheap here, so please let's. That is where the base of the expression.
So if the guy invites the woman, he pays because he initiated. What happens
if she
initiated? She has to pay because she initiated.
She has to pay.
And of course, we are living in an incredibly modern world where all the rules are being reshuffled. So you have to really make your own rules and be comfortable with who you are. But what happens if a guy invites a woman for like 3, 4, 5, 6 dates?
Yeah.
The woman now, I know women who told me, okay, after the 3rd, 5th, I feel like I should contribute because he is inviting me all the time and he paid, so I feel like I should also pay. What do you have to say to that?
I think there's no right or wrong. I think today, more than ever in history, there is something for everybody. There are polygamous relationships, same gender couples. There are couples that want to have children, couples that don't want to have children, couples that believe in marriage, couples that don't believe in marriage. Arranged marriages and, couples that have a joint account, couples where she is the main breadwinner, couples where, he is much older, he has money, and, she decides to stay home and enjoy his finances. And there's nothing wrong with any of this as long as you are honest with yourself, with what your needs are, and you are honest with the person in front of you. The rude part of life, and what I am completely against, is you lying to yourself and continuing a relationship despite you not really wanting this. Maybe you want a gentleman that, pays until forever.
Right.
Then that is your right. Why do you sit there and do you think that just being in a relationship with anybody is some kind of, God has looked down upon you and now you have an aura of wisdom around you and then you're an accomplished woman? You're not, and you're not an accomplished man. If you sit in a relationship that does not fulfill you, then get out. Because literally there is something for everybody out there. There is no need to shame someone. And that is why I always say there's a difference between standards and expectations.
Tell us the difference.
Standards.
It's powerful. Yeah, it's knowing.
Standards are me sitting with myself now during quarantine alone and thinking, what would make me happy? What is it that I would like?
Right? We have so much time.
Yes, we have so much time. Take a break since you can't really go out and date and ask yourself, what is it honestly that would make me happy? Well, do I want to have children? I want to have children. Is religion important? Yes, religion is important. Do I want to get married in church or I don't want to get married in church? Is marriage important or no, I don't really want to get married? What is it? Yes, get honest with yourself. It's like me going on a networking event and not knowing what I'm selling, not even knowing what my business is. I'm just going out there randomly.
I'm here.
And no wonder so many people put on Facebook, it's complicated. I don't even understand what complicated is.
It's not knowing yourself.
It's not knowing yourself. That is what makes it complicated.
I think we can continue being good friends for a long time. When you compete each other's faces, it means you are good friends.
It is, but it's so sad, isn't it? It's the fact that we just sit there and I see it more and more.
And I know why. It's also because, again, we copied mom and dad. And that's still at the back of your mind. We copied what we saw in our society. Then we watch the movies. Then we watch other couples. And we have this image and we have this image. And they are going back and forth, back and forth. And you're like,
yes.
I want to be here. No, I want to be here. I think I want to be here. I changed my mind. I want to be here. I want to have this fate in life. No, but my mom said I have to be a good girl. Right? There is this dichotomy.
It is that, and it's something further than that, is the fact that we live in a very romanticized idea of what love should be. You know, we're
my
all,
Prince Charming on a white horse is right outside my door flat.
I love, there is a very funny, I suggest you will go look at. So Alain de Botton is he's a philosopher, modern day philosopher, and he speaks about love. And he's hilarious when he expresses this. And he says that, you know, we all have this idea that, you know, we're all seeking for the one that should just read our minds and, you know, have this telepathical connection with us and fulfill all our needs. And, you know, it's you just know. That's romantic, you know. You never fight with this person. You just, you know, he just gets me. You get each other, and that is why. And I love Alan. He actually says this has created a huge epidemic of sulking in society. Everybody sulks in relationships. So you know, when you don't really say what's wrong with you, don't communicate with your partner.
How are you?
Just lock yourself in the restroom and you hope and pray, because if it's love, he will guess your thoughts through the door, through the walls, through the skull, and you know, he will just communicate exactly what is wrong with you. And if he's the one, he will just, you know that you just know. He will know that he has to pay for all the dates. He will know that he wants. It was my birthday. How come he never? You know, how come he never brought me something?
Since it's Confidence Cafe, more women that I speak with, they are actually expecting that the men should know how to be intimate and how to even make love to them. Women don't actually speak and say what they want in intimacy. And they are expecting that he should know. And of course...
I squashed my flower just hearing this. Yes. I'll share with you something that is one of my biggest pet peeves in today's dating world, is the fact that women fall in love with potential and men fall in love with a perception of what we create.
Good luck.
So women go out there and they want to create a perception of who they are, which is a woman that is always okay. Always. It's fine. You didn't reply to my message even if I've stared at my phone after 1 hour? It's fine. It's fine with me. You didn't open my door, but I really crave for a gentleman. It's fine. I'm not really into this stuff. You tell me that you're not looking for a gold digger and, you know, our love is not material, so I'm never going to buy you flowers or gifts, but I actually deep down really want a gentleman that buys me, you know, things and flowers and things. But I'm going to say it's perfectly okay with me because I think that one day you will change. I think one day, after I offer you my life and 2 children and 3 children, you will actually pay for rent and support me with my children because that's my dream. And that is expectations. That is not me bringing my standards and saying, listen, this is my value. This is what I'm looking for in life. And he says, well, actually, I don't have this much to offer. And you say, oh, that's perfectly okay. It's fine. So, women laugh when I say this, but I'm going to share it now too. I've shared it once in a live and everybody replied, women. You doing this is exactly like, and for women that are so afraid about stating, you know, this is not okay, you know, this is how I wish I would be treated and everything else. is like a man entering Apple store with 5 dirhams in his pocket and getting annoyed that he wants to buy the latest iPhone. And the Apple people saying, well, yeah, but it costs 6,000 dirhams. And he says, no, but I have 5. And does the Apple store say, oh, we're so sorry. Okay, here, for 5. No, they say, well, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. Go back. When you return with more money, we'll give you the iPhone. You can go somewhere where there is a phone for 5 dirhams. The same as a woman. If you know your value, you're not gonna start feeling bad for saying no. You're not gonna, and that's why we perceive no as impolite, as rude, as a termination of relationships.
We are afraid. Okay, so of course, first of all, we are starved because we don't have time to date.
Yeah.
So then, when we finally find some compatibility, we are like, okay. Let me not lose this one.
I know.
So we compromise.
The one.
So very quickly, because we have 6 more minutes, guys. If you have questions, I have here questions, so I can read them. We got some beautiful compliments. Hello.
Thank you.
Looking forward to listen to you. Again, from US, from Germany, from Romania, 2 brilliant women. Nice to see you. Hearts, emoticons, because of course we speak in emoticons. We haven't had the chance to touch on emoticons. So if you have questions for Andreea, type them in the chat here on live on YouTube. I'm going to read them. We have 5 more minutes. So go to a date with your standards. Take your standards with you. And even though you really wanted to be in that relationship, wait. Because you have to expose your heart, but also your standards, and find out how that person will react to your standards. That's like standard rule.
I think so, and ultimately it is rude, isn't it? You're playing with people's time and emotions. If I'm trying to trick you into just being in a relationship till we, years, we get into a marriage, we make children and everything, and you never really fulfilled me, I am alone in 2, then of course you're wasting the life of another human being who has this perception of whoever you are. He thinks that you're okay, and that's why a lot of men, all of a sudden after marriage, they're absolutely shocked.
They are.
Oh, she changed completely. And then, on the other hand, women, whenever there is an argument, come out back, and I constantly, repeatedly hear they say, he was always like this. I've always known. And I was like, no.
Why didn't you say something earlier?
Yeah, why didn't you say something earlier? You got married, you're making children and everything, and then, you're lying to yourselves.
It's very probable that most people who end up in divorce are running in that divorce because they were pulled by their fears. They were governed by their fears, by mindset of scarcity, by fear of I'm getting older. And that's why most often they end up in divorce. And that's why I'm proud I'm single. I have few particular questions for you, just to change the flavor while I'm waiting for the questions. What is your favorite word, Andreea Stefanescu?
Oh, kindness.
I knew
for
that.
Sure.
What is your least favorite word?
Rudeness.
What turns you on?
What turns me on? Oh. Nutella.
What turns you off?
Spicy food.
What
Am I
sound?
thinking about food?
It's whatever it comes. What sound or noise do you love?
Oh. I don't know what sound or noise do I love.
Whichever comes first. Top of mind.
I love when I hear people laugh. Actually, I told you when I was at the elevator that I heard you laugh from the elevator.
I know I laugh a bit too loud.
But I love it.
Thank you.
I love hearing people laugh.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, God. What sound or noise? Oh, the honking. And the engine, how do you call it? Yeah. Oh, my God. I'm sorry for all the sport car lovers, but I do not get it. I just do not get it. Why do we all have
It's an expensive car.
Okay.
I paid 2 million. What is your favorite curse word?
My favorite curse word?
Yes.
Oh.
Curse word. Do married people curse?
No.
God forbid. God forbid. No. Okay.
I don't think I have a curse word. Favorite and favorite.
Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe God? Jesus.
Oh, Jesus.
She's really my friend, I know her. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt if you were not a relationship consultant and international?
Oh, but I've been a web designer. I've been a flight attendant. I've been PR. I've been
Matchmaker?
a matchmaker. Yes, so
Quite few.
probably a psychologist or
Of course.
something. Yeah.
A kind human. You should receive a certification for kindness.
Ooh, I like that.
You have it from me, even though I'm not an institution, but I'm your friend. What profession would you not like to do?
Or not like to do. It's a tough one. Profession I wouldn't like to do. I think some police work. I wouldn't like it. Nothing comes to mind. Judge, I think is very hard. I think it's a very tough job, yeah. Whenever you're in law, it's very challenging.
Excuse me, can we go over 60 minutes? Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'm speaking with the best live stream company who is helping me do this, Fat Cat Media. Thank you, guys. We can go over for a few more minutes, yeah? I got green light from the guys. So police, you said police.
Anything in law, I really wouldn't like it. I admire them a lot for their job, but I couldn't do it. Oh, also all the people in finance and all these investors and things, my God.
But you were good in mathematics.
Yes, but I can't handle the pressure of investing other people's money and having all that responsibility on your hands. I think it takes a lot. I really admire people that can do that.
We want you in the social skills.
Yes, thank you.
Arena.
I think I'll stay here.
Last question, but not the least. No. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the gate?
Oh, well done.
Well done. Now, I have a few questions here on our YouTube. First of all, lots of claps and hearts. Karen asks, in moments where you feel your confidence is at the lowest, what do you do to regain your confidence?
Well, the thing is, you have to be quiet. There is and a lot of people will ask this why. I said this a few times. Confidence is silent. Insecurities are loud. Whenever you start to compensate for not feeling very confident, you feel like you should just continue to talk, just be loud, and that we perceive confidence as this extroverted, person that takes over the room and everything, and it's not necessarily always like this. In fact, the most confident people are the ones that have the capacity to be okay with silence. So even if you're uncomfortable, and actually confidence is outside of your comfort zone at times. So you find it there. If you want to regain your confidence, step a bit outside of your comfort zone, challenge yourself to breathe through your nose. And when you breathe, they say that we inhale our thoughts. Think of things that you're good at. Think why you are in that room. Act like you belong. So if I walk into this room and I sit here and I think, oh my God, all these cameras on me, and I'm gonna breathe and think, you know what, I belong here. I deserve to be here. I know what I'm doing. And then I just keep quiet. And I breathe again through my nose. And I think again, I really belong here. And then it shows. So whenever I'll speak, I'll exhale my emotions. So I breathe my thoughts, I exhale my emotions.
And if you want to know more on that, you have to follow Andreea. She's School of Manners on Instagram. She has plenty of trainings, plenty of webinars. If you happen to go on her Instagram on School of Manners, you will need hours, days, weeks to inhale and digest and take in all the content that she has generously put out there for free. And she's funny, and she has a new hashtag called What the Manner, because she's on a mission. I forgot to say this at the beginning. She's on a mission to truly innovate etiquette and manners and make it more digestible, more bite-sized for us millennials, because she's a millennial. More questions, and we soon gonna close, although I want to stay another hour with you, and I hope you at home want to stay more with us. Ferrari or Bentley? Choose one.
Bentley.
Penthouse or villa?
Villa.
Why?
So, because I love pets and I wish they would have space to run outside.
Famous or wealthy?
Wealthy.
Spoon or fork?
Ooh, spoon.
Why?
Because in Thailand, for example, you only eat with the spoon. Actually, the fork, if you have a fork and a spoon for dessert, you actually use the fork only to support. You don't eat with the fork, you eat with the spoon.
Tea or coffee?
Tea. I'm not a big coffee person. Yeah.
Fine. This is tea. This is confidence tea.
Yes.
Only today.
I mean, for now, of course, I'm a coffee person, with confidence. I have my coffee with confidence. I just don't have American coffee. Black coffee. Americano.
Audrey Hepburn or Kim Kardashian?
Oh, I don't like that. They're so different.
I know, just give me one.
To what? To take
one.
them home? Because Audrey is gone. I mean, I love her. I wish I could meet her.
One or the other?
Yeah, I think it's the natural choice everybody's expecting. I'll say Audrey Hepburn. Of course, I love her. She is an idol. But I've never met her, and I do not want to put, someone down. I don't want to be part of this global bullying against.
No.
So
I'm
Kardashian,
just playing.
yes.
We are just playing. I completely admire the empire that they
So I wish I would say Kardashian right now, just to be on her side and to say, you know what, I'm supporting you.
Yes.
You're not alone. You should not be bullied. You're a human being, and you deserve also love.
She gets all my love, and she received so much bullying, and she doesn't deserve it.
It's unfair because ultimately, nobody walks inside your house. Nobody is literally holding a gun. Kardashian didn't come to your house, held the gun to your head, and said, there. Watch. Yes, they're just there. I mean,
but why there
it's
are
very
more people,
controversial.
Why there are more people who are hating on them? That's the perception I get from social media. Why do you think there are more people who are hating on their success and their beauty and the empire that they've built?
We will go into a polemic. Yes. So there is a lot of reasons behind why, psychologically speaking. What we need to educate ourselves is that you cannot on one hand say, we are going against bullying, stop bullying, and in the same time have Kardashians on TV. And I've seen recently, there was when they presented the Emmys, I think, and the entire hallway started laughing and they felt so embarrassed. And it was live for millions to see, for children to see. This is bullying. We're living in such a dual world, and that is unfair.
But they are also influencing mannerism and culture, because with the reality show, they are very, they are throwing with things, they are rude, just to put on a show, because what do people watch when they want to unwind? They want to watch something dramatized.
Exactly. But I'll tell you something. We have to take responsibility for watching them. They are showing us what we love to watch.
Right.
People say, social media is bad. No, social media is not bad.
For
when
sure
somebody
not.
Comes to me, and this comes from a person that worked with social media. I was a web designer for social media website, actually, in Romania. So the way the algorithm works is that Facebook, Instagram, YouTube wants to keep them more on the platform. So if whenever you are on Facebook, you only watch Kardashians shouting at each other, maybe Kardashian posted also a picture with her children sitting quietly, but you watched less of that.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a video that you see further on with new science development, but you scrolled past that. You didn't really sit on it. Then you saw another reality TV show with people shouting at each other. You looked further for like another 15 minutes of that. Then ultimately, of course, Facebook, what is going to show? Science and children, or is going to show you more of the shouting and throwing things at each other? Well, of course, it's going to show you more of what you spend more time to look at.
Yeah.
So ultimately, social media is a mirror of who you are. whenever somebody comes and tells me, oh my God, whenever I want to on my Facebook, I'm so tired of seeing all this drama and murders and things. And I say, well, I don't know, because when I open my Facebook, I only see kittens and etiquette and travel. And I don't know what you see.
Powerful, powerful, Andreea.
We need to take responsibility for what we watch. If you will stop watching Kardashians shouting, then they will stop shouting. It's the reality. They just want to sell. They're selling what you love to see.
Powerful, and thank you for breaking that down so beautifully. Give us your comments in a minute or two on money come by manners.
Usually, and like I said, 80% of the reasons why you will have success in both your personal and professional life is due to good manners and etiquette. And this is 3 different studies done by Stanford Institute and Dale Carnegie Institute that have proven these results. Is due to soft skills and manners. So 85% of the reasons why you will have a huge revenue and success. And by the way, etiquette books back in the day were called success books. They were not called etiquette books.
Success books.
Yes. So people don't realize how much rudeness costs them. Studies, and I'm not just talking here, and I urge you to Google this. Rudeness costs organizations $14,000 per employee loss. So manners are money? For sure, manners are money. Manners are the best return of investment you'll ever make. Manners can open doors, like I said, that no other education can. So you're missing on a lot.
And I've chosen this quote because I felt that it best describes you. Because
I'm so wealthy with my manners.
You are beyond wealthy. You are imparting this wealth, and you are imparting the power of abundance, the power of kindness, the power of human connection, because I know that you are very passionate about the topic of human connection. So, because we have to end, I really hope that you have felt good in the cafe.
I felt great. I didn't have my coffee, but I'm going to have it because it's with confidence.
I know. You definitely made me feel very, very confident in all the beautiful stories that you've shared. And at home, I thank you very much for your comments, for your participation. Oh, we have so many comments. Thank you.
Of course. On Andrea's stories now. And we'll send you her address so you can all come here. And
we have beautiful questions from Nikki, a good friend of mine from Romania, who says, how do you keep grounded in the noise? Such a great life session. What is the experience that was the most important in your life? We will definitely come back and answer in writing, because now the team is telling me, okay, we have to go. So first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Andreea, for giving us your precious time. I urge you to stalk Andreea on School of Manners on her Instagram account, and just connect with her. We are going to see each other Friday at 9 p.m. with another. Today is Friday. Tuesday. Good.
Quarantine. Friday, Tuesday.
Yes,
day.
we see each. Yeah, I know this.
Quarantine. One quarantine day of these quarantine days. We will see each other.
We see each other on Tuesday. Thank you. So we see each other on Tuesday at 9 p.m. We are going to have again much more coffee, much more discussions on the much loved topic of confidence, because that's what I want to offer you during these times. A boost, an elevation of confidence in spirit, in mind. Keep leaving us comments. We are going to reply to all of them. And thank you so much, Fat Cat Media, for helping us do this live stream. Thank you.
Round of applause.
Yes, let's give them a round. We have the cameras, the guys, the lights, the good spirit. And see you Tuesday, 9 p.m. Thank you for being here, guys.